Welcome our viewers and welcome Nitij Singh. I am delighted to have Nitij as our guest for this episode of our podcast ExCEED. This podcast is produced by Center for Excellence in Entrepreneurship and Development (CEED) at Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics, Pune. CEED is a policy, research and advocacy center that aspires to understand factors enabling and inhibiting the entrepreneurship growth in India. Considering entrepreneurship is central to India's economic growth and story of economic development in general, CEED aims to bring together a host of stakeholders, policymakers, academicians, and researchers to undertake research and actions towards policies that will foster the entrepreneurship in India with special focus on small businesses. Welcome, Nitish. We'll start knowing more about you and your work through the discussion. So, first of all, tell us briefly about your journey, your background, education, and what brought you to this project.
Yeah, but before I begin, as in, I would. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me for this wonderful podcast, and it's a lovely campus. Really good vibe to be around, talking to you, and looking forward to the conversation. So to begin with, I come from a farming background. My grandfather, my father have been in the farming in northern India, to be specific, in Haryana. So I've been very closely associated with farming as a sector from my childhood. But my career actually started as mechanical engineering, where I was in working with renewable energy sector in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, in northern India. But my journey with sustainability started that point of time, working with agricultural field. But later on, then I got engaged working in more on the policy space, where I worked in NGOs and also development sector, and went to do my masters at Hertie School of Governance, which is a public policy school based in Germany. After coming back from Germany, I was working with the German Development Corporation actually in Nepal, where I got introduced to this concept of how plants can be used for making sustainable fiber. And there I saw farmers working with or with bamboo fiber, and I got interested to know more about how plants can be used for making various interesting products. But during my research, I found out that India has a lot of bamboo and other such plants available, which can be used for making such kind of products. So that led to basically understand and read more about what's happening and what are the opportunities in India and what can be done. And then eventually I found out that India is one of the largest bamboo growing country in the world, but it's also one of the largest importer of bamboo products. So that led to the whole idea of doing this research and also doing more work on the ground to see what can be done and what solutions can be provided. And I've been working in this space for about good 4 or 5 years now, where I have worked with farmers in Uttarakhand, Nepal, looking at bamboo and also looking at hemp and nettle, other plant fibers which can be used for sustainable green growth opportunities, not only for the country but also for the world.
Right, that's a very interesting journey, and I think it's very interesting to know that the plant-based fibers is something that has made you think about bamboo. Before we kind of dwell deeply into the whole story about bamboo and entrepreneurs in it, what is this connection of bamboo with sustainability for our viewers? Can you just elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, bamboo is a, if you want to name it, bamboo is also called the green gold. It has multiple benefits. If I have to divide it, ecological benefits and also commercial benefits. In ecological benefits, it's one of the fastest growing grass. So one thing that I want to clarify through this podcast is that people consider bamboo as a plant,
Right.
but actually it's a grass.
Oh, right.
Right. It's one of the fastest growing grasses in the world, or green plants. And the thing is that there's also an assumption that bamboo only grows where there is a lot of water, which is also not true. Bamboo actually requires like a lot of species of bamboo does not actually require a lot of water, which is actually very beneficial in areas which are semi-arid. If you're sitting in Maharashtra, there are a lot of places in Maharashtra which
Yes.
has lack of rainfall and canal systems. So there are places where you can actually grow bamboo for as a crash crop opportunity. Other than that, if you are using it as a agriculture plant, it also does not need any pesticide or insecticides to be put while while doing farming for it, which is not the case of a lot of other farming commodities that we look at. Plus, it grows so fast, so the farmers have an opportunity to have multiple cycles within a year to actually grow bamboo. So this is one part of it, which is more ecologically focused. But if I have to give it more commercial angle to it, the the benefits of growing bamboo and the kind of products that can be made out of one bamboo is a lot. Starting from basic things like furniture is a very common, everyone knows it, but we are also moving towards like high-end products of creating actually ethanol, which is a new thing, but it's some research has to be done. But there are wide range of products that can be made, starting from smaller agarbattis, or you're talking about baskets. These are very common things, but as you move up the value chain and you're able to have proper technological upgradation during the value chain, you can also make clothes out of it. You can also make tea out of it. You can also make diapers out of it.
Right.
So the potential is immense,
Right,
both
right.
ecologically and commercially.
Correct. So India has been like historically a country which has quite a bit of bamboo production, if I am not wrong.
Yeah.
So what has still led to the dramatic increase in imports?
So it's a very interesting and a very complex situation. India is actually has the second largest bamboo plantation in the world. We have as per record, about 108 species in total globally. And India, I think, has about 32, 35 species of bamboo that are there. Most of the bamboo that is there in India till now is actually a forest commodity.
Right.
And till 2017, 2018, it was considered to be a forest commodity. So what does a forest commodity mean? Which is basically it's a forest product, and you have to go to the forest and cultivate it and then use it accordingly. Private cultivation of bamboo was not allowed, right?
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
Right.
So you can't grow bamboo and cultivate it as a farmer. It's illegal to actually do that. That was before 2017. So in that was the main problem, that if everyone, not everyone, but people knew about the potential, but they couldn't do much about it because it was illegal to grow, and it's very difficult for anyone to actually go to a forest and also take it at a scale, because how will you actually go in the forest and do any industry at a scale?
Right. Right.
So that led to this problem where consumers were getting aware of the benefits of bamboo, and there was a global trend of how bamboo was getting popular, not only in India but across the world. And as capitalism happens, trends also come to India, which also kind of led to import of bamboo products. And if you look at the data, we are importing from anything from bamboo poles. We're also importing bamboo shoots. We are also importing, which was a disturbing thing, that we were also importing bamboo for our agarbatti making, which was impacting our agarbatti manufacturers at the rural level. And there are few countries which were doing really well and we're getting imported. So that was the problem. It's still a challenge, but there were some steps that were taken by the government to address it, which I'm happy to discuss later.
Yeah. I think that is perhaps the next question, right? That there must have been some sort of a lesson out of this taken. But before that, like this illegality around like producing bamboo outside of the forest, is it like some sort of colonial overhang of the forest laws or something?
Yeah, so you're right there, because it was actually part of Forest Act of 1927.
Right.
And according to that act, which has been going since colonial times, bamboo has stayed in that particular category of the commodity and products, which kind of made it almost impossible to actually cultivate it at a private level.
Right.
So yeah, it was a colonial hangover which led to this problem.
Correct. So what was the key policy change that you just referenced?
Yeah, so in 2017-18, the current government, central government, along with the president, passed this law where they actually took out bamboo from this Forest Act of 1927, which kind of made it like a any other plant or uh, cultivation product commodity that the farmers do, and they can use it on the private to grow it, which kind of made it very easy for not only the farmers to actually grow it, but also people who are working taking it from the forest to actually use it and also transport it. Because what was the problem also initially before this act was that it was also very difficult to actually transport bamboo poles.
Right.
Because you will get stopped and you have to have various challans, you have to get like a permission from the forest department to actually get anything going
Correct,
of
correct.
moving these things across point A to point B. So once this act came into picture, a lot of these hurdles or bottlenecks got removed. And I think now is a good time to see and evaluate what has been the impact of this act overall. So that's pretty much the benefit of the act which was changed.
So there must be some green shoots now visible out of this policy change.
Yeah, so we are definitely seeing green shoots in like the study which I'm doing as part of the CEED collaboration is to understand what are these shoots that are happening. My initial conversation and data collection has happened in few cities in within Maharashtra, talking
Right.
to bamboo entrepreneurs, and one thing has come out very clearly in the about 40 to 45, 50 interviews that I've done, where I've asked entrepreneurs about the impact of this exact policy, because most of the entrepreneurs have been working in this sector for last 10 years,
Right.
7 years, where they have tried to experiment with it. And they say clearly that the act has made a positive impact.
Right.
The thing that we have to see now is that how we can scale it and what unique proposition in the bamboo global industry India can create for itself. That is something that we have to do.
Why Maharashtra as a site for this study?
So let's take a step back, because what did the central government did to support it? So there was something called the National Bamboo Mission, which was started actually in 2006, 2007, where the government actually saw the benefits of bamboo and wanted to see what can be done and put some allocation through funds and schemes and all. But there was a restructuring done after the act was passed. When the restructuring was done, they kind of identified about 32 clusters across the country, which was bamboo clusters. And if you look at the number of clusters across India, Maharashtra is one of the states which has the highest number of bamboo clusters.
Can you just elaborate what you mean by cluster here?
So cluster is basically an entity which is created around the commodity, which is widely present
It's a
around
geographical
yeah,
definition.
geographical
Right.
definition. And Maharashtra had about 4 or 6 bamboo clusters, which is basically means a entity or a center which has supporting infrastructure to have promotion of bamboo in it.
Correct.
So when we looked at, like we did a literature review of where are these clusters and what is happening, and also the kind of initiatives the state government has taken, Maharashtra actually came right above, comparing like at the level of most of the northeastern state, which is primarily the hub
Right.
of bamboo.
Okay.
And so that actually led to this decision of why not we do Maharashtra.
Right.
And we are in Gokhale, which is in Pune, and that's how it actually started.
So where in Maharashtra, like typically, there are some traditional centers around?
Yeah, so for this study, I'm working with the Maharashtra Bamboo Mission, which is based out of Bombay. They have been involved in this for last 10 years to actually promote bamboo industry in the state, and through that collaboration, we have identified few cities or few regional hubs to be more specific, because bamboo is actually more of a rural thing. It comes to a center and then goes further. So we have identified, if you have to start with the western Maharashtra, we have Nasik, Kolhapur, Thane, and Pune. And in the eastern, we have Nagpur, Chandrapur, and Amravati.
Right,
So
right.
these are like the hubs, and last is also Gadchiroli, which is like
Correct.
the
Again in Eastern Maharashtra.
Yeah.
So how this whole value chain in the bamboo works, like bamboo as a kind of crop to the final products, like what are the key steps or players?
Yeah. So from what I have seen in the study and the conversations that I have done, it basically starts. If I have to divide it at the starting level, it's farmers which are cultivating
Right.
bamboo, and they are both from a small scale farmer. I'm talking about a farmer which is about 1 hectare. Two, I have also spoken to farmers who are cultivating at 70, 80 acres of
Oh,
just bamboo growing. From that, what happens is that so if you look at bamboo, it can grow anything from 3 feet to 20, 40 feet at height. Then once it's ready, it takes about good 1 year, 2 year to actually get that level. Once the shoot is done and then it reaches that height, it's cut. Then it's processed. In the sense, the first process is actually you cut out the branches, which is like the
who does this processing? Farmers themselves?
so it's sometimes it's the farmers. What we are also seeing is that people who have land but have migrated to cities like Pune and Bombay, they have actually used their lands to actually plant bamboo.
Right.
So they might not, they might have it might be their own land, but they have given it to some other people to actually manage it. So that's how it is. So it's farmers and then people who are hired to give it a name, which kind of helps in processing. Starts with cutting the bamboo first,
Right.
then followed by clearing the bamboo, which is the branches and the other things that are there. And then depending upon which industry is supposed to be given to, it's the processing is done differently. So that's basically starts with mostly dipping the poles into the water, which kind of softs in it sometimes so that it can be processed.
Right.
Then it's treated with other chemicals depending upon what you have to make out of it, which is either if you're going for like a furniture, are you going for a basket, so it kind of processed differently. Once it's processed, sometimes the processing is done by the farmers themselves. They have a additional unit to
Right.
it.
Integrated.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of a step to another
So
entrepreneur.
they sell to.
Yeah, they sell it to someone and they do the further processing and then they sell it. In Maharashtra specifically, what I have seen is that there is one particular community which I have spoken in Pune and also in Kolhapur, which is the Burud community.
Right.
They are quite the step two in the value chain.
Okay.
They might not have the land because they're traditionally non-land holders.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah.
So they are, what I've seen in conversation, they are the people who get it from the farmers. They have a big hub in Pune. They have a big hub in Kolhapur, where there is a bamboo mandi. Apparent when I went to and saw it, most of them is managed by Burud community members, and they take the pole, and
Right.
then they give the pole. So next step is sometimes it goes back to the farmer also, because its poles are used massively in Maharashtra for horticulture, like for
Okay.
grapes, pomegranate,
Right.
stand for those
Yes.
to pick up and all that. So it's interesting that it starts from farmers and goes to farmers very quickly. That is the
But
one.
different type of farmer.
Different type of farmer, exactly.
Right, right.
Exactly. So different type of farmer, but there are also a lot of people now using it for construction. So the
Right.
other stakeholder is people who are architectures, who are building these gazebos in resorts, also making these huts in like beaches and shacks, and
Correct, correct.
which is getting a lot of popularity, and also making construction now in the houses also, where they want to make an extension or something.
But in a typical, like the construction of buildings, bamboo once was used quite extensively. I
Yeah.
think now that has reduced.
That has reduced. That is for sure. If you have to compare it from like previous years.
I mean, that's how one used to see, like, let's say when I was in my school, the bamboo
Yeah.
was very evident in the building construction, but that's no longer is the case, perhaps.
Yeah, that's true. As in, but I think there is a revival.
Correct.
Considering what some architecture told me, that especially after COVID, a lot of the resorts are very interested to make it eco-friendly.
Right.
That thing has come into construction business also, and resorts wants to be that
Right,
we are an
right.
eco-friendly resort. So, and especially if you are doing construction in areas which are little more forest and those kind of areas where can't have permanent structures, there these bamboo huts and houses come in very handy.
Right,
So a lot of places around like Lonavala and all those places, you have these people who have constructed this.